Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new here. Today I will be doing a review and demo on the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. And I do have dry skin, so if you guys would like to see how this sits on my dry skin, then definitely keep on watching. So I have this foundation in the shade Light 70W. It is a little bit too light for me because I just got back from vacation last week, so I did get pretty tan. So please don't be alarmed if in the video it just looks a little bit light. So a little bit about this foundation. It does have hyaluronic acid, which is the main selling point of this foundation. And hyaluronic acid is supposed to be really good for containing moisture. It's supposed to attract 1,000 times its weight in water. So if you have dry skin, hyaluronic acid is supposed to be really good for you. I have had this for a while and I've tried it a couple times, but I don't really wear it that much just because I do have another favorite. More information about this foundation. Is supposed to be a medium buildable coverage. It's supposed to create a healthy skin-like finish, and it's supposed to be hydrating. This foundation retails for $16 on Ulta and on the Colourpop website. On the Colourpop website, they have 42 shades, and on Ulta, I think Ulta carries about 29 shades online. You might want to check about in stores. Up next is the oxidation test. I will swatch the foundation on my cheek and let it dry for about 5 minutes, and then I will swatch a new freshly pumped foundation swatch right next to that just to see if it has darkened over time. Alright, so this was a fresh swatch about 5 minutes ago, and this one I just swatched freshly. You can kind of tell that this older one has darkened a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, but at the top here is a little bit thinner. So it has darkened, and it's still a little wet right here. So it's about the same shade, but I do see that once it dries down, it does darken up. I'd say half a shade compared to this fresh swatch here, but I don't think it darkens too much, so that's just something to keep in mind. So for application, I'm going to use my sponge on my left side of my face and then a brush on the right. So I'm just going to do one full pump for now, and we'll see how much that gets us for coverage. So I usually just like to swipe it a little bit first. So I can tell that when I'm blending it out with a sponge, it does shear it out a little bit. So right as I put it on, you can see it covers a lot, but then when I start blending, I can still see a lot of my freckles. I know it claims to be like a natural finish, but to me it's looking a little bit matte on my dry skin. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm just going to do one layer for now. Alright, so this is what it looks like on my skin using a sponge. So far it looks pretty good. Like I stated, it looks a little bit matte. You can see it's a little bit dewy, but I can see that it's starting to dry down. So let's try this side with the brush. So using a brush does offer a little bit more coverage, and the finish still seems to look about the same using a brush compared to a sponge so far. Okay, so this is what the sponge side looks like, and this is the brush side. I can tell, yep, the brush side has a little bit more coverage. I can still see my spot right here, and then I can still see some of my freckles on this side with the sponge. And I used the full pump. There's only like a little bit of residue left here, but I think one full pump did pretty nice coverage. I'd say it's like a medium coverage. I will try to build a little bit more on each side, just at the tops here, to see if it'll cover more of my freckles. So that did seem to cover just a little bit more. And I'm going to apply a little bit more right here on this spot to see if that will cover as well and build it up with a brush. So I can still kind of see it right there. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the sponge and the brush side. I will zoom you guys in to kind of see. So I just finished putting contour, blush, and bronzer on. I put a little bit of highlight. I didn't have to set my face at all. Usually I will set on my forehead because I don't really like the shine, but I noticed that the foundation does have a really nice like skin-like finish, like it states. On my skin, it looks the teeniest bit matte, especially on my chin. It has like literally no glow there compared to the foundation that I usually use, which is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion. That one is really, really dewy. This one just has a really nice finish. I do think I prefer the sponge compared to the brush. When I look really up close on the brush side, I can kind of see some of my texture and my dry patches, so I definitely prefer the sponge. On my skin, this does give like a nice medium coverage. I can definitely still see some of my acne scars and some of my freckles peeking through. One thing I really like about this foundation and that I noticed is that it doesn't settle into my fine lines like my smile lines, and it doesn't really crease around my nose too much, which most of my foundations usually do that, or it will crease a little bit, but I don't see any creasing. Also, before I did my final setting spray, the foundation again did look a little matte and it looked a little heavy on my face, but after I sprayed my Smashbox primer water, the foundation kind of just melted into my skin and it looked a lot better with a setting spray. Overall, I do really like this foundation. I wouldn't say it's like a new favorite, but I think it is a pretty nice foundation, especially for my dry skin. I do feel like I will need to prep really well just because it's not super hydrating. I do recommend you guys to try it even if you have dry skin. It might work a little bit better on your skin, and if you have oily skin, I think this would still work really well because it's not overly dewy. I will continue to play around with it using different primers and different setting sprays, but overall I do really like it. I think it's affordable, especially if you buy from Ulta. You can use a coupon code, and they have a nice range of shades and undertones as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there are any other foundations you guys would like me to test out and post here, please let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys!